Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pete's Epic Golf Podcast. Join golfer Pete as he interviews international and local golf experts and enthusiasts. Golfer Pete's guests are looking to share how his audience can improve their golf game by improving their mindset, skill set, and gear set. We ask our experts to share their practical tips on golf in one or more of these three core areas. Golfer Pete created his podcast as a resource for anyone who loves golf. Join Golfer Pete as he asks the questions we all need answers to in order to improve our golf game.
Hey, I want to welcome our viewers to a special podcast. This is all the way into the Phoenix area. So we're both looking at 100 degrees. Well, I know Atlanta is. I can't really speak for Phoenix, but we'll talk to Jaclyn in just a second. But we wanted to bring Jaclyn on because the concept that she represents is a very interesting one. And she's going to give 3 reasons why our golf community really need to know about Epic Golf. So, Jaclyn, thank you for being a guest, and please introduce yourself and a little bit about yourself and what your company does, and then we'll get into the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Pete. I know we've been talking about this for a few months, so I'm glad it finally worked out to a good time. 3 hours earlier, I know is a little tricky, us Arizona people, but yeah, the weather, actually, we had a little bit of that storm come through. So we're under 100 today for the first time in 3 months. So it's a beautiful day out here. But yeah, I'm Jaclyn Cummings. I am the VP of membership with Epic Golf Club. And Epic Golf Club is a private golf society. We started back in 2018. And it is amazing. We have grown to over 900 members in just the first, 4 years. And it is something that we want to keep very exclusive. So we limit the amount of members that we take per club, and we will cap it in the future as we want to make sure it's a solid, good group of people. But yeah, it's an incredible experience that we basically play great private clubs all over the world.
Well, that's, for golfers, you're speaking their language, because I don't know too many, let's just say the good, really people that have been playing for like 30 years. They want to play nice golf courses. So give us some reasons why that our golf community really need to know about Epic.
Yeah, absolutely. So the 3 main things that, membership does for our members, I messed up my screen here. So the 3 main things our membership does is it helps other members meet other members, right? You get to play and meet like-minded people, other affluent members that are at great clubs around the country, and get the chance to really be a part of a society with each other. Then you get to play other great private clubs. And we all know as private club members that, you get spoiled, right? 3.5, 4-hour rounds. Whereas if you're playing a public course, a resort course, it can be 5.5-hour rounds, and no one fixes their ball marks. So we really wanted to be able to share that private club experience. I don't know about you, but whenever you travel away from home, if you don't know somebody or you call your pro, but we got so sick of asking for favors or bugging our pro. And we thought there has to be a better way to get that private club connection. More people like us really looking for that. And so, our founder, Noah DePasquale, back in 2018, really started this. We went to college together, got our masters together. I played for golf for college over at Northern Arizona University. And so I was always kind of the golf girl that he would throw ideas off of. And yeah, he started this in 2018, and we couldn't believe how much it's grown since COVID. So 2020 was either when it was going to make it or break it. And by June of 2020, we knew we had something because everybody wanted to travel and play some other great private clubs. And then the third awesome part about Epic is we do about 20 to 30 events a year at top clubs. So, not only can you request to travel and play when you're traveling for business or pleasure, but we also do events, and it's your opportunity to play some of these top clubs that, you wouldn't have the opportunity to play unless you knew somebody there. So, we're very lucky, some of these top clubs that invite us back every year.
Well, I think the whole idea of you go on the road and you're thinking about what are you going to do, and to have the ability to play some of the nicer courses. I know I have a friend, and it's funny because he travels and he likes to play nice courses, and he was so excited when he joined Epic because he now didn't have to jump through the hoops, try to figure out. It was like, and golf's like a maze of trying to figure out things unless you have an organized way that can give you the ability to play the nicer courses. So are you like across the country? Do you have a good mix of golf courses? What does our viewers need to understand that the type of golf courses that you're talking about?
Yeah. So, everybody wants it to be top 100, right? We do have relationships with about 80 of the top 100 private clubs. We'd love to have all 100 at some point, right? If you have anybody at Augusta or Pine Valley, you just let me know.
I don't have it Augusta. Now, Pine Valley, maybe down the road.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. And we know we have some members that have close friends at these top clubs. So we do have ways. We've had a lot of members play all the top 10 even, but we have direct relationships with about 80 of the top 100. And it's either through the GM, the pro, or a member that is part of our society. I would say 90% of our clubs are across the country, but a lot of our members do have multiple memberships. So we have about 10% international. We have over 10 in Mexico now. I love a handful in Cabo, Bermuda, Bahamas, the UK, Europe. It's really neat. We have 4 in the Netherlands. So we're trying to put together a trip in the Netherlands next year. We do some neat destination trips. We've been to Cabo, and we did Morocco last year. We did a group to the UK, and next year we're going to do a group trip to Ireland. So a lot of these events, they're different. Some are 1-day little member for a day type event, whereas some are 3-day member guest formats, or others are destination trips, and we're, going somewhere really neat. We'll probably go back to Cabo next year. So there's some really neat things, and it really applies to all different types of members. So, there's some that will do a couples event. We're doing a couples in Napa. So we're playing a top 100 club in that area, as well as going wine tasting. So any spouses that golf get to golf with the typically husbands, right? And then any spouses that don't want to golf get to go wine tasting or shop with the other members. So it's really a special group, and we try to do all different types of events. Some are 88 player, 2-day great trips that you meet a ton of great people. Some are 3-day member guest formats that the lodging's on site and you bring a guest, and we do about 36 players depending on how many can lodge on site. So everything's a little different, and that's why we do so many, because most members can get to 2 or 3 a year if they can.
So your company Epic will organize those events. And so I'm basically signing up, and I know I'm going to Napa, and so you take care of all the details, all the scheduling. They just show up and enjoy golf. Is that what I'm understanding?
Pretty much. We try to arrange everything but flights. So everybody's coming from somewhere else. So we'll even tell them, hey, here's the airport that's closest. But we try, if it's a multiple day event, we try to include lodging, transportation to and from the course, typically all the food and beverage at the course, maybe nice dinners after, just depending on when and where, just so members don't have to do anything. They can just say, yep, those dates work. I would love to go there. And obviously there's a registration and fees with all that, but it's great because they don't have to do anything but book their flights.
That's quite a convenience.
It is. Our VIP concierge, I will tell you, if I haven't mentioned it yet, that is probably what our members really like the most, is we have a 4-person currently VIP concierge team. So everything that I have mentioned is all done through them. You are not reaching out to 900 members. 900 members aren't reaching out to you. Everything is done via website or app through our VIP concierge. And they're the ones that set up everything for you. And then, of course, we have an events team that, we run all the events. We have staff that goes out to all these places and makes it as seamless as humanly possible between Epic and the golf course.
That's a really enticing offer. And I didn't realize, explain, I know member guests, but explain what your member guest concept within Epic is, and how does it benefit a golfer to have something like that?
Yeah, it's really fun. So again, we created Epic really to be something that you can bring either business partners, clients, guests, family, friends. We know people travel and they want to entertain. So that's most of our avenues to play great golf include a guest. So typically when you're traveling and want to use the concierge, Pete, let's say, you're headed out to Scottsdale and you want to play a great private club. As a member, you would log in, you'd look at the map, you would see we have about 30 private clubs in the greater Scottsdale area, some that you have heard of and are dying to play. So you would put in your request, and then you could bring up to 2 guests with you to round out your foursome. So basically you play with the member, you can bring your 2 guests, and then you just pay the guest fees directly to the clubs that you travel and play. And you get to enjoy great golf with, of course, that great member that gives you that home club feel. And if you hit it off, guess what? That member might say, Pete, let me know the next time you're in town. I'd love to have you out again. And you would reciprocate and say, hey, that was so much fun. Let me know when you're out in Georgia. Love to have you at my club. So it's all about the relationships and the people for us.
That's awesome. So your staff, like you have the concierge group and you have others that are doing different things within Epic. So have you just been gradually growing, as the need occurs within Epic?
Yeah, so great question. We are actually up to 18 employees now.
Wow.
When I first came on board full time, we had 6. So I have seen the tremendous growth. And it's just great to see. Obviously, we need more concierge as we get more members. Right. But what's really nice is we care the most about the member experience. So we do limit new members. We only accept 24 new members each month. We want to make sure that reciprocal program is going very smooth, and we want to keep it very exclusive. So again, we typically only take 1 to 2 members per club. You have 4 best friends at a Pine Valley or Augusta, you let me know. I'll make that exception. But yes, typically 1 to 2. And then, of course, we have our marketing person specialist that helps us with all of our marketing and collateral for events and sign up and registration. I have 2 other membership directors that work on my team that, we're doing all these interviews. So it is a 2-call interview process to get your invitation to join Epic. We really want to make sure it's the right fit. Of course, It has to be a good fit for your lifestyle, but it also needs to be a good fit for the society. Is it somebody you would want to host at your club? Is it somebody we want to take to one of those top 10 courses that we have a great relationship with and keep getting those invites back? So it is imperative for us to, really go through that application process, interview process, and make sure it's a good fit on both sides. And so we continue to grow Epic as we grow the membership. And now that we're over 900 members, again, not more than 24 each month, to really keep that process. But we get over 800 applications each month. So the fact that then we do all the phone calls and everything to see if it's a good fit, we usually end up with 24 or just under.
What do you do? That's exciting to actually match people with, because the worst thing is it's the wrong person for the wrong program. Now tell me, when you're traveling to Ireland, it's obviously not a couple hour flight trip. Is somebody staying there a week? Are you doing it for a week? Because I thought it was just a couple of days. What would that Ireland trip look like for our golf community if they were a part of Epic? What would that international trip look like?
So that is one of the events that we will pre-plan. And I will tell you, the international events, we use a second company because we're not familiar with transportation, hotels, maybe the golf community as much there. So that Ireland trip, I think that's going to be 5 rounds, 6 days. And we are using another company over there that will help us do it all from there. But typically when it's in the US, those are the ones that we handle it all internal. So we do have 2 or 3 people on our events team. Usually one of the membership directors goes as well. What else? We have, of course, our head pro. We have a head professional on staff that used to play on the LPGA, and she was on the big break. So, we have all the different staff that we, enjoy going to the events. We handpick who should go to which one to help facilitate it and run it. But yeah, the ones that are here in the US, if it's, let's say, 2 rounds at 2 great courses in New Jersey, then we will find a hotel in the middle. We'll plan all that. Our staff will go the day before, make sure it's all planned out. We have the shuttles to and from the golf courses. So we'll arrange all that, the dinners, everything else.
What would you say, like, if you had to paint your ideal client or ideal person that would be wanting to be a part of Epic? Would they be a single digit? Give our viewers a little idea of what type of person you're looking for out there.
Yeah, so I would say our average age is 51. So we have some affluent young people, of course, that are in their 30s and 40s and have figured it out, or they travel for work and they love to add a round of golf to entertain clients, or add a round of golf to a business trip, maybe if they travel frequently. And then we have, of course, the 60, 70-year-olds that are ready to enjoy more of their life and want to travel and play. We have couples memberships as well. So the couples that travel a lot together. So what happens is, as an individual membership, again, it's a society. You go through an interview process.
Right.
So it's an individual membership. And you can take the same guest on 3 trips per year. So a lot of members think that's usually how much their spouse would travel and play with them. But if they're the couple that travels and golfs together and they know they're going to travel and golf 4 to 6 to 12 times a year, then we offer that couples membership. And that is basically a membership for each. So there's no restrictions on how often they play together. And the spouse could even do a girls trip on her own, or vice versa. We also have female members. Now, not a ton. It's probably like a typical country club, right? That there's not a lot of single females or males actually at that point, I would say. But it's a great group. 51 is the average. What else did you ask about a typical member, right? Handicap wise, we don't want it to be strict. So do we have some single digits? Of course we do. Do we have some teen digits? Absolutely we do. If somebody's in, maybe a higher than a 15, then we'll say, hey, let's have an honest conversation. The main reason people like to play a private golf club is because they want to play in under 4 rounds or 4 hours. Yeah. So if you're going to hit 8, 9 on a hole, and we just talk to them and say, hey, you got to know when to pick it up and when not to be mad that you're shooting 100. So as long as somebody is a great sport and gets it, there is no handicap restriction. Okay. But I would say on average, most of our members are between a 7 and a 13.
Okay, good. I was just kind of wondering, because my friend Craig, I've seen him shoot 81 and I've seen him shoot 98. So I didn't know how many times will I be able to play with him? Do you have a limit on how many times that a person can bring a guest?
Yeah, so that's the 3. So that's any guest. So he could bring you on 3 different trips. So let's say he brings you to Arizona. You can play multiple rounds here. So let's say you play 2 or 3 rounds here. Yeah. And then he takes you to Seattle and you guys go play a few rounds up there. Then you can go with him to Texas, go play a few rounds there. Okay. But that 4th trip that he's taking to New York, you can't be his guest on a 4th trip in the same time.
So it's by trip, not by round.
It's by trip. Okay. Correct. Gotcha. And the events, those 20 to 30 events we do each year, those you can typically bring 1 guest. Sometimes you can bring an entire foursome. It just depends on the size of the group that we, are planning that trip. And there's no restrictions there. So he could take you on to every event if you want to be his, member guest partner.
Well, I'm the best putter at the club, so he's going to want to take me on an event where he's trying to win. So.
I love it. He should. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, the
because
member guest formats. I
yeah,
remember I didn't
yeah,
answer your question earlier. So
yeah.
when we do a member guest event, so we are actually headed out to do one here in West Virginia soon,
Okay.
and great club with lodging on site, 3 days of golf. And so every Epic member has to bring a guest. So your friend would bring you because you're not a member yet, right?
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
so it's one member, one guest, and we just have that golf course booked. So it's not a member at that course. It's purely an Epic member and their guest.
Okay.
And then it's a format just like it would be at your home club, though. It's
Right.
going to be, best ball typically, right? But we don't do scramble formats ever because
Yeah.
everybody, if you're playing a top club, you want to be
Yeah.
able to keep your score. So
So
it's always
true.
more of maybe 9 holes will be an alternate shot or something
Right.
fun, but you're playing two stroke rounds for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So our viewers are always going to wonder, what kind of golf game do you have?
I wish I was still in my prime, Pete. So I did play
Yeah.
for college. I will tell you, I grew up in Seattle.
Okay.
So when I played golf for college in Arizona, I quickly realized people played year round. And so I kind of got my butt kicked, but we did win Big Sky Conference 2 years in a row back in the
Right.
90s. But I could still shoot 78 and I could still shoot 85. It just
Yeah.
depends on how my chipping and putting is that day. I never practice. I have a 7-year-old, so between travel for this is usually the only time I get to play. I played some great courses this year and actually headed to a top course in Kansas here Thursday to go play. So,
Wow. We just had a gentleman from Kansas City on the podcast before this. And it's interesting because Carl Dollar, he's going to be on the summit with you. He's has a 100 people breaking 100, and Steven has a 1-year-old. So it's kind of like he's just starting out. He was a baseball player, and he's trying to figure out how much can he incorporate golf into work. And the other thing is, being a new golfer, he doesn't want to embarrass himself. So he wants to play comfortable golf. So Carl gave him 3 tips to really focus on when he's out there, because he doesn't have the time that, people that are retired or empty nester would have, because they're busy, in their personal life and their business life. So I do want to tell our listeners that in the show notes, you'll see some links. So if you want to know more about Epic and you're in different areas of the country, you'll have to see whether there's, availability, and then you're going to be able to talk with. Now, you're a pretty tough interview. Now, does other people interview them too? That give them a little bit of leeway on this?
hey, I'm the best one. I'm the
Okay.
nicest. No,
Yeah.
we do have 3 membership directors.
Okay.
But I'm happy to chat with anybody to see if it's a
Yes.
good fit. I love when I find people that are a great fit, because it is incredible. Once they start using it, I get calls and texts all the time. Jaclyn, I get it now. Because let's be honest, you're joining a society that you can't touch and feel. You do a 2-call interview process over the phone and Zoom. And honestly, right now, initiation fees start at $19,000. So for some people, that's, a lot to spend without walking a course tour or doing
Sure.
something physical. But I get so many calls after they've hosted, or they get hosted and they travel, or they go to an event and they meet other people and they absolutely love it. And that's my favorite part about going to events. So we have a clubhouse here in Scottsdale. We're headquartered in Scottsdale, about a pitching wedge from TPC.
Okay.
And we always invite members to come, if they're in Arizona, come visit us. We have an awesome office. We have a simulator. We have a putting green. We have a bar. We have everything you need. Because we love to meet our members in person. But when I go to events, that's why I love to go, is to meet everybody in person, watch the relationships get made, help introduce people that I know would be, hit it off and enjoy each other. So yeah, I did a couples event in the Hamptons this summer. and I had 10 of our favorite couples go out, and I watched 3 just hit it off. They've already traveled around 2 other times since then. So it's just really fun to see the connections and the people.
Yeah, that, I was walking through our courtyard. It's a little community courtyard, and one of the guys was waving me into the gym, and he's 82, and 45 minutes later, we're talking golf. I mean, it's like a language. It's like a second language to people, because you can meet a person, as long as you have that common golf language. You just bond over the fact that, whether you've had hole-in-ones, whether you've had eagles, which course you like to play. So there's a whole language in the golf community that people love to talk about. So my final question, so I always like to give our viewers, like, what is, I know True North out there, when I play, my son-in-law would get me on. Is that a private course or a semi? It's public?
So it's public. They do have 50 members that typically live on the course, but True North is the number one public course in Arizona. I actually used to work there. I was the director of sales years ago. So it's one of my favorite, but that one is public.
Oh yeah, I played out there when I went out there. Now they've moved back to Atlanta, so I won't be coming to Phoenix as much.
Oh no!
It'll just be, I have another friend out there. Yes. Oh yes. Yeah. As soon as I get my drive back, I'm hitting it pretty consistently about 130 yards. So my short game is gonna have to be my saving grace out there. So give our viewers, I always like to take away, or the final final word that you would like our viewers to understand, and just what tips you could give them, what tip you could give them.
Yeah. So my best thing, Epic Golf Club, it's an amazing private golf society for like-minded people that love to travel and play other great private clubs. So if that sounds like a good fit, happy to chat with anybody to see, right? Usually the first calls 15 to 20 minutes just to even see if it would be a good fit on both sides. Mm-hmm. And then if we think it is, we get farther into the interview process and the application and see if the club is even eligible. Sometimes we already have our allotment from that club, but golf is a special sport that, some of us have grown up with or played a lot, and it brings people together from all walks of life. And that is really what's special about this. And if it is something that you want to play a great private club when you travel, then Epic could be a great fit.
That's awesome. Well, Jaclyn, I want to thank you for being our guest and really providing our golf community with different things that are going on in the golf world, because, the one thing about golf secrets, we don't like secrets. We like things to, at least our golfers should know what their options are in the golf community. So thank you so much for being our guest. Now, we always ask too, is there one person that you think would be a good guest for our podcast? Is there anybody you can think of off the top of your head that could add value to our golf community?
Goodness. I'll have to think harder about it. I have a great friend named Jill Strite, who hosts a bunch of events out here, does helicopter ball drops for charities. She does those around the country. So people have gotten to know her to do that. And then my best friend runs the Charles Schwab Cup. So if you need any assistance with that, happy to reach out to her.
It's always good to talk to people that do things in the golf business, because golfers love things about golf. That's for sure.
So true. So true.
Thank you so much, Jaclyn. We appreciate you being our guest, and we want to send some cooler weather out to Atlanta, because we're actually hotter than you are, I think, today.
Right now, it's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jaclyn.